a deep question because it takes a lot of thought and honesty. Yeah, it really does. And as I was thinking, getting lost in my thoughts, yeah, I thought my life was going to be different. It was made up. It was made up from conditioning, cultural, and just not knowing who I was. So I think it was made up. So it had no imagination to it. As I'm thinking about it now, it had no imagination to it. It was just methodical.
Mm.
So it never, I don't, yeah, I don't think I even envisioned it. Did you? Did you?
No, I honestly, you know what? As you're saying this, I honestly
Yeah,
didn't. I mean, I had like, from a young age, I had like the hopes and the dreams, but it
yeah,
was really, it was like looking at a TV screen of
exactly.
families and happy people and kind of thinking I would win like the people lottery. Like I
Mm,
would end up with those people in my world and I would be moving along this current that brought me to my dreams and goals, but I didn't have a plan.
yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't like I had a definition of
yeah,
where I wanted to be when I was 60. Honest to God, I didn't think I'd live. So I'm kind of like,
yeah.
I was sitting there
That's,
in amazement.
I think, yeah, but I felt like my life was just in this drift.
Mm,
And I just been, wherever it went is where I went. That's
yeah.
really, it was no control. It was out of my control. So my life had no depth to it. It had no excitement. Like, so when excitement happened, I didn't know like what to do with it. Especially, yeah, I remember the first time I was talking to somebody the other day about exciting jobs I had, and I said I remember two great ones, and it was walk radio, and I was teenager, and I was working. It was my first job, and like every teenager wants those jobs that like put you on the map,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Right, right, right. Exactly. Of course we
so
do.
I was in one of those jobs, wasn't Burger King or McDonald's. It was like on the map jobs. And I literally got there because of my voice. And it was like, you have such an amazing voice. And I'm like, I don't know who they're listening to. But it was really, what was I going with this? See, that happens. So from that, okay, so when I start experience pops of life, the first timers, the first times in life, that was like monumental, but I didn't know how to celebrate it
Mm, yeah.
because I was always going with whatever was happening, like, whatever was happening. So I didn't know how to celebrate it. And it was not until late in my life did I say, hey, I was in amazing jobs, boom, boom, boom. I started celebrating those things. And people was like, oh, what are you celebrating? I said, the fact that in 1992, I did that, I had to go back and celebrate all those things because I didn't know what life, was supposed to look like. And then when it looked different, right? When it looked different, I didn't know how to celebrate it.
I really love that you're saying that because I think that really is important to
Yeah,
emphasize. It's never too late to celebrate the
never.
things that we felt because I know that for me, anyways, shining your light was something you did not do.
Oh no.
Like if I felt even remotely proud
Yeah.
about something that I did or
Hmm.
had achieved, I was walking around with like this invisible measuring stick, seeing if anybody else felt it was worthy. And if I didn't get anybody that felt like it was worthy, I just brushed it aside, which is so crazy, and that's like one of the most amazing things about being where we are right
Right.
now is that we don't have those rules anymore. You know what I mean? We don't. And as you were talking about going along in life, it reminded me that years and years ago, I thought it was a good idea to go kayaking down the Snake River in the spring. It was very, very not smart.
Yeah. Mm,
That's a
mm.
nice way of saying it was stupid.
Yes. Yeah.
And I literally was swept along with the current. I went
Oh wow.
underneath. I had no idea which way was up. And I remember in my head going, just let me die, just let me die.
Yeah.
And when I got pulled out of the water and I was safe, I remember feeling like that's how life had been for me for so long. Like I was just moving along and then all of a sudden, like it was wherever the current decided to bring me. I had no control.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
felt like I was
I
in a
feel you.
life like
I
that.
feel it.
And last year I went kayaking in North Carolina where there's really zero rapids. And I was just floating along going, wow, you know what? This is how life is supposed to be.
Absolutely.
So different.
Absolutely. I think the biggest trap that when we hear the word starting over is that there's a clean slate. But what I said to someone the other day is, no, I'm reintroducing myself. And that's a
Love it.
different perspective than
Love it.
clean slate because now you got to build everything over. Because you got to remember, we've built maybe 30, what, decades? 30, not 30 decades, but decades of information and
Yeah.
learning and experience. So you can't
Yeah.
wipe the slate clean. Do not say that, guys. Do not say that because
No.
we have so much power in our mouths. And you say, I want to wipe the slate clean. Guess what it does for you? Because this happened to me.
Mm,
It wipes your memory. What you say,
right.
it wipes your memory. And then you're like, why can't I remember that? Because you said it.
Right.
So just a tidbit on the
Right.
side. Just a tidbit on the side. We already have like issues with memory going on and everything like that. But let's grieve the old plan.
Yeah.
Grieve.
Yeah. I like
Let's
that. I like
grieve the old plan. Right? Reintroduce ourselves to life.
that.
Say,
Hmm.
hey, I'm back in business. I'm back in business. What could I do? And a great thing that I did just this morning, because I'm always getting up and getting out of the timeline of the grid and trying to get into the timeline of abundance. I'm rendering to that. Is I sat down and I wrote everything a goal that I wanted.
Mm.
I wrote down, and it wasn't that many, to be honest with you. It was like maybe 10, not even. And what I discovered is that it wasn't about the money, it was about the freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about the
Yeah.
freedom. Money does bring that freedom, but then I started to reevaluate my goals. Just like you would with your old plan, the old plan, your motherhood and all of this, and that's over now. It
Mm.
really is for some of
Yeah.
us. It really is over. It's they're gone and they're doing their thing.
Right.
But now what for you? And I think that's why we really created 16 Now What, because here it is. This is
Yeah.
the time that was for you. Now what? What are we gonna do with that? But
Right.
I think the energy that we spend with the clean slate shouldn't be, because then we're starting real blind, like you were on that river.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
started real
Exactly.
blind. We don't want to be blind. We want to use
No.
that experience, our experiences that we have learned, and build upon those.
Yeah, I mean, look at the tools that we accumulated. Do
Uh-huh.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Without all of our life experiences, bringing that's our gold. That is our
Hmm.
treasure. Everything, even if it felt at the time like it was our hell,
Yeah, yeah.
that is our masterpiece that we've created from that. And who
Yeah,
we are
yeah.
today is largely due to our experiences and our
Absolutely.
environment and our thought process, which really takes over our soundtrack in our head. But I mean,
Absolutely.
we need to take those tools, and maybe we're not proud of all of those tools. You know what? So you have a decision to make.
Yeah,
Do you want to sit in that, or do you want to gather the tools that really created this masterpiece and bring those along for the ride? 60, what
yeah,
now,
yeah.
right? It's not 60, what now?
Right. Yeah. I think I want to build on what you said. I think the tools really are our wisdom, our resilience, and our clarity, right? But sometimes when you misuse those tools, we create not nice things. So
Yeah.
those are the things that we're probably kind of grieving over. Like, woof, that was a snafu because I didn't use
Yeah.
this hammer right. I didn't use
Yeah.
pulverized. I use my clarity in the wrong way. I use my resilience the wrong way. I use my wisdom the wrong way. And you gain that over the years of experience and processing, right?
Right.
You gain that over the years. But now you have these tools now. You have a tool belt that you can freely now kind of start to create to something different. Use your hands and
Hmm.
create something different. A lot of times we use those things as weapons
Oh,
versus
yeah, do we?
tools. We use them as weapons versus tools. And it doesn't come out too well.
No, this is true. This is true. I had been the boss of other people, right? I had children. I know now that wasn't the way to behave. However, that
Correct.
was the tool that I brought to the table. I felt like I was the boss of the
Boss,
kids because
yeah,
somebody was the boss of me. So then I pushed that authority out there.
yeah.
It was not pretty, it was not good. But that's the only tool that I had to parent with. I didn't
Hmm.
have any better tools. And
Right,
then you reach an age where all of a sudden your kids are like, "You're not the boss of me." That's when they're
right.
about 6, right? So they try to push that on you when they're 6, but it really becomes very effective when they're a
Yeah,
teenager and they just move the shit right out of your house.
yeah.
Done. Game over. You're not the boss of me anymore. Then you sit there, and if you happen to be married, you try to like push that on that person. Or if you've got some friends or family that you're close to, you try to push it out on them. And then one day you're 60 and you're like, I've never been the boss of me.
Never. Absolutely.
Now what?
Absolutely. You know what? Yeah. I'm going to go on the perspective of being the family hero or the family pseudo mom. That's where I was. And being parentified early had me parenting everybody else,
Yep.
except for myself, except for my little Edna. I was parenting everybody else. I literally had my sisters. I have 4 sisters. 2 didn't live with me, but 2 of the others, they all lived with me till they were old, until I had to say, no, I had my nephews, I don't have that many. I have like 3. And I had my nephews living with me, and they had their partners, or they were living with me in my big house, right? And I'm caring for my sons, my daughter, she left home at 19, but that was taking care of everybody, right?
Yeah.
Taking care of everybody. So 2012, November, I remember saying to myself, no stinking more. I didn't say stinking. I was like, this is it. And so I gave everybody notice, verbal and written. By February, have somewhere to go. So as I'm talking to my sister, she's saying, where am I going to go? I said, you're 40 something. Figure it out. You got all these men. Pick one.
Right.
Pick one. Form a relationship, build one with them, and go make a plan to live together. I don't know, but figure it out. And we start to take that tool, like you said, and then do the same stinking thing. And I don't mean stinking, but do the same thing with everything else. The job, even shopping. We think, if you look up the word boss, you're not going to like the word boss. So if there are any English majors out there, we shouldn't be using that word boss. It's the worst word ever. But I digress. We have been doing a demolition job with the tools that we've been doing. That's what I'm saying. We've done a demolition job, and some of it wasn't what we were given. It was just pronounced on us. So we kind of guided through that. We went through life with that dysfunctional tool.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true. And then, and it's really quite sad actually when you are going through those motions, and then all of a sudden you get to this part of your life and you feel like without that, you are nothing.
Right,
so
right.
If I'm not helping someone, if I'm not, and we have to really understand, and this is where a good therapist comes into play, is there is a difference between helping someone and hurting someone. That's often disguised as enabling someone.
Right.
So I can't tell you how many friends I have right now, their adult children are living with them.
Yeah.
Long term. This isn't like, okay, I had termites, they're going to put a tent on the house for a couple days. Can I stay with you, Mom? Or, hey, I've got a brand new house being built, but my house sold really quickly. Can we stay with you for 3 months? And, there's a timeline, there's an agenda.
Right. Exactly.
You're helping, all right? Taking advantage of, and us allowing that because it is our measuring stick of worthiness are 2 different things. Those are 2 different things. And that's hard.
Absolutely. And just talking about that, there is a friend of mine I'm usually have friends that are 10 years older, and I'm telling her, you're not preparing him for long-term life. This is how I live. What if I'm going tomorrow? What if today was my last day? Do I have all my paperwork in place? Do do my friends know what's going on? What if my kids are with me, they need to be doing something more.
Yeah.
And that's how I stopped enabling. November of 2012, when I got back from China, is when I said no more. And that's the difference between enabling. And then on the flip side of that now, I said, now don't you go looking for places for him. If you're going to do that, guide him to somebody whose pay grade is that.
Yeah, right.
Guide
True.
him to
True.
somebody that can do that for him. Don't you take, because then you take too much control again into that. And,
Right.
I had to say the same thing every time, one of my kids to come here for whatever reason, like you said, when you leaving. That's the
Yep.
first thing I talk about in the beginning. It's not even at the end. Okay,
Yeah.
what's the plan? What's the plan?
Yeah.
My nephew
Right.
came to stay with me when he was leaving to move to New Jersey. So how long? How long you staying? That's how you got in the interim.
Yeah.
You got to be doing something productive. You're not going to sit on the couch and do nothing.
Right.
So it's
Right.
always a plan. Again, like you said, and we're right now we're standing in place. This is and I know a lot of you out there now listening or watching are standing in a place where things look entirely different than, and it wasn't even imagination, it was what was given to you, that script that was given to you. Like, wow, I don't that's looking nothing like the Brady Bunch.
Right.
It looks
Right.
nothing like the Brady Bunch. It looks nothing like the white picket fence and the dog and the children. It don't look like that.
Yeah.
It looked like a hot mess.
Right. Exactly.
And so what we do with
Exactly.
that now?
What's really cool about where we are right now in ourselves, though, in addition to all the tools that we're bringing to the table, is clarity. So if we
Yeah.
suddenly wake up at 60-ish something
Mhm.
and we're not where we had envisioned ourselves to be, it's not too late.
It isn't. Yeah, yeah.
It's really not too late. I never in a million years dreamed I would be where I am right now. I am in a place way better than what I allowed
Mm-mm.
myself to dream in my younger years. I
Yeah,
didn't I didn't ever dream.
yeah.
Now,
That's what I was
I
gonna say.
did
You didn't dream. You didn't dream.
I really didn't. Yeah. I mean, but I've made some choices along the way,
Right.
and moving forward, now I do envision where I
Yeah,
want to see myself going, because there's power in that. There's power in the
yeah.
clarity. And it's just something that's really, I think it's really difficult to express to somebody
Hmm.
who is feeling so lost, that you have all the tools.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can get there.
yeah. The easiest thing I could say is stop. Just stand still. Give yourself permission to let go of the expired time.
Yeah, yeah,
Expired. It's
yeah.
over. And that's what they say. Lig it. That's what I say. Lig it. Let it go. It's
Let it
over.
go.
You have to let it. You literally, because we don't realize that we are holding on to things. I had to, for my oldest son, I had so much guilt around picking his father. I have to laugh at myself. And not being able to support him as a man, as a black man, and then him going in and out of the justice system. I felt so much guilt for him. When I said, when he finally came home, I said, you have to get out on your own and figure this out. I cannot see you, because all I'm doing is helping you die,
Right.
because you're
Right.
always going to need a place to land and not be able to get up on your own feet, no matter how bad it is or how bad it looks to me or to anybody else. You have to get out there and get those bumps and bruises.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm saying to you, audience, is give up that expired timeline. Stop trying to repair the structures that you built.
Mm,
Stop trying to fix the older version of you. You know how you put the makeup on the older version? Stop. Because it all looks bad. It all looks bad. It all looks bad. Just let
exactly.
your natural self be, let it go. Reclaim your agency. One
Yeah.
thing that I reclaimed my agency is I was everything to everybody all the time, everywhere, whenever.
Yeah.
I was all of that, right? And I was one to always have the latest hairdo, the latest nails, all of that stuff. And I don't know if I told you, but one day I'm looking in the mirror and I'm so tired of myself. I'm so tired of myself. And I was like, I don't like where I'm going. And I remember listening to Wayne Dwyer.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and so I remember listening to him, and I had just started the affirmation process, all of
Mm,
that. Go into my bathroom and I'm looking at myself. I'm so sick of myself. I want a different life. I want to uncover stuff. And as I'm looking, I see the nails and I see the hair. And I push my hair just like this and then push my hair back and say, man, I'm really cute. Under all of the stuff
mm,
I was hiding, it was all masks. every bit of it. The
Wow.
nails, the hair, all of it was masks. Now, I
Wow.
wasn't a great big makeup person unless I was modeling or something, but I didn't need that much. And I was never like that. I love lipstick, don't get me wrong. Girl, I had my nephew come over and cut all my hair off and start over. I'm not saying that you have to, but I
Yeah.
started over. And what I found out along the way, that all those chemicals, all what I was doing to
Oh,
myself was actually stopping my spiritual growth in my third eye,
yeah.
the crown chakra. All of that was stopping the flow of creativity because I was wearing this heavy mask, which was
Mm.
stuff on my hair, all of that. I'm telling you, give yourself up. Give that old version of you up. This is where we are. You
Yeah.
know, battle scars, wrinkles, cuts, whatever happened, happened. It's a new version of you. And let me just tell you, when you accept you, you're going to look so amazing to people. They're going to, God, you're gorgeous. And you just woke up out of the bed, you be like, what are they talking about? But because you accept yourself, when you wear that natural glow of accepting and loving yourself, it hits different. It hits different.
Hmm.
You reclaim your agency. You now can be able to pivot in your life and be confident because you love
Yeah.
yourself.
Man, such goosebumps over that. That there is so much freedom in that.
Yeah, yeah,
So much freedom in that.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
when I stripped off that facade, it was a number of years ago where I actually was
Yeah.
like, I used to be just like you. The fingernails, the hair, the makeup, like I was so the measuring stick. Hey, look at me. How do I look? You know, and
Right.
then now, like I'm really, it's usually like maybe 1 or 2 days a week I actually brush my hair. You know what I mean? So I'm like really, and I do that in the morning when I'm about to see you. Otherwise, like I just roll. And it's not that I want to, run around being messy Marvin, but
Right.
those are things that, I'll run a comb through it, but I'm not sitting there in the mirror
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
concerned about how I'm showing up because that's here.
Right.
That is here. That is how I love people. That is how I
Yeah.
don't judge people. That is
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
I care
Yeah.
to be. And it's a freedom that you can't ever describe
Absolutely.
until you feel it. And I find it so sad when I see all these millions and billions of dollars in these potions and Botox and all this crazy shit that people do to act like they're really not 60. I mean, you can't hide that. You can't hide that.
You can't, and it's going to show up when you walk, when you move. It's going to show up. Okay,
Why
it's
not
going to
be so
show up.
proud of that?
It's going to
Be
show
so
up.
proud of that. I mean, I really do remind myself how incredibly blessed and grateful I am that I
Mhm.
get to breathe into
Right.
60, that I'm not dead into
Yeah.
60.
Yeah.
You know what
Me
I
too.
mean?
Me too.
I have never been ashamed of my age. I have never
Mhm.
lied about my age. I will say my age before somebody asks my age
Yeah.
because I'm grateful to live,
Absolutely.
you know?
I agree with that because a lot of my little crew that I used to be with, I could tell you I'm the only one alive. And
Gosh.
they died early of different situations. And they died early. The crew is no longer, maybe another person, but she's really sickly as well. But I count it all
Yeah.
good, all
Wow.
beautiful, just to wake up alive, and we have the ability, on this health part, we have the ability to heal ourselves. And you know
Yeah.
what that is? That is
Right.
not complaining. That really is waking
Yeah.
up, getting into the time, rendering into the timeline of abundance, rendering to that. Say, okay, what is going to be? It could be just being home all day.
Yes.
It
Yes.
could just be home all day. But guess what? It looks and feels different when you render to abundance, because abundance could be joy, could be peace, happiness, health,
Yep.
and then it starts that journey of, let me just put in some time doing some exercise, maybe even go on a brisk walk.
Right.
Just
Right.
just getting out of the house. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe just walking in the rain. I remember walking with my granddaughter. She wasn't in a great mood, and I said, "Let's go outside." It was raining. And she's 11 now, not 10. We went outside and we put our boots on, and we went outside. And we splashing in the water. So I have my little small pup with us too. We're splashing in the water, and we're just like running in the water. Nobody's outside with us, and she was in such a great mood. She was like, "Wow!" I was like, but the nature itself is part of us. When we neglect that and stay inside this little box,
Yep.
we become in this box.
Yep, yep. Exactly. So true. So true. So you mean taking inventory of like all of the amazing experiences and tools
Yes.
that we are bringing now to our table,
Hmm.
and then sitting down and going, what are the dreams that I have for me today
Yeah.
and for tomorrow?
Right.
What are some of the dreams and how can these tools help?
Yeah.
Because we have so much more than we realize.
Well, audience, you just heard the question for the day. Sit down and write that. What are my dreams that I have for today? What are my dreams for today? So maybe we'll do this. Do the exercise I did today. Sit down and just write out what your goals are or your dreams, and
Yes.
sit them and just write them down. Don't cross anything out. Just write them down and let them flow out, no matter what they are.
Right.
It could be horseback riding. Don't consider you might not be able to do it.
Right.
Just write it. Don't
Yep.
consider that. Just if you want to do it, you can do it, but just write it out. And that's just the goal for this week, is to finish this week off writing out those goals and see how they look.
Yeah.
See how they
Yeah.
look. Then ask yourself the final question is, how can I or what can I do to get closer to that goal?
I love that. How exciting. How exciting. Just let yourself dream without judgment.
Yes.
Dream without judgment. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome stuff.
Very good stuff. Very good stuff.
So exciting to be 60 plus.
Yes. Now.
I know. What now? It's almost like, what kind of trouble are we going to get into? What's now?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome, my friend. Awesome stuff.
Yeah. So